So take a breath, kind of release yourself from the day's busyness, and just kind of be here in this moment. Take a breath. And I am just going to voice a little prayer that this session will inspire everyone. Either you've been in the practice for a long time and you've been committed to your daily practice, or you're just sort of starting anew, because those of you on the recording who are not here live will also get to benefit from this. This be an inspiring moment for you to really recommit to your daily spiritual practice that fuels your life and levels you up to that place where you get to be the fullest expression of God that you are capable of being. And we are all capable, as you know, of more than we do. Sometimes I don't thank Mrs. Eddy for that phrase. Sometimes I think, really? I have to do more? Okay, so as we start today, I would love to hear, even if you've been doing this for a long time, because some of you have been in the community for a long time, what did you notice about your practice, your daily practice in the last month that made you feel like, oh, this is good. This is benefiting my life? What are some of the wins that we noticed from the last month or anytime about your daily practice? Just so we get a clean recording, if we're not speaking, go ahead and mute until you want to talk. That way we'll have a clean recording for everybody. And I see everybody racing to mute themselves. So Ken, would you like to share? Because you're still unmuted.
What can I share?
Anything that like,
Yeah,
go ahead. I'll let you.
I've just been listening to the recordings of the
Has it
sessions.
has it been
So
helpful for you to stay consistent
yeah,
in your
yeah,
practice?
yeah. It's been quite inspiring. But I'm not quite sure whether that's summarized a summary of the session or whether it's more reflective of what actually happened.
Okay. Well, it could just be just being in that daily routine of turning to God, and letting that be part of your routine consistently, that really is the thing that's made you feel. Because this isn't about what we did a month ago. This is really about what we've done in the last month, every day to day. Because it's the day-to-day practice that really makes the difference.
Yeah.
Did you feel, have you always been involved in a day-to-day spiritual practice, or is this kind of a new, really?
I've I've read my lesson every day, um, and done that most of my life. So other than that, I'm not quite sure what you're saying.
Well, did you feel that sort of listening to Morning Metaphys, because I know you weren't live, but you were able to listen to the recordings. Did you feel like that supported you and it was a little bit deeper level of your daily practice, gave you some fresh ideas and some fresh inspiration?
It did give me inspiration. I really like that,
Okay, good.
and it's very easy to be isolated where I am.
Yeah. And that's actually fairly typical of a lot of people in the group, that this is a way for people to connect with like-minded thinkers.
Yep.
Barbara, I saw that you unmuted. Go ahead.
Well, I found that the looking out was easier for me than the looking in.
Yeah.
The hardest time with the looking in. And having this worksheet and going back to it, I made some notes from the recording, and has really helped me just focus. I
Yeah.
mean, I've done very much a lot of this on a regular basis anyway for many years, but I like the way it was very specific. And so I find my morning practice a little bit more purposeful.
Oh, good. Okay.
But as I say, I definitely found the lookout the easiest.
So when you say look out, how would you describe that in practice? What does that look like for you?
Well, to see the qualities that I'd like to see expressed in someone, or, see them as expressed. Why is it so hard for me to see them expressed in me? And whereas I can see it in the other person, and even things that bother me, I can turn them around to the positive. And that's where the lookout for me was the easiest of them all.
You know what's interesting? One of the phrases that I think we've probably all heard, if you can see it, you can be it, or if you can see it, you are it. If you see it, you be it. So if you're seeing these qualities in others, and that seems to be pretty easy for you to see, you already are that because you're not going to be able to see it if you don't understand it and know it. So it is something that you are and you are expressing. It may just be that the shift is going to occur when you start accepting that about yourself and that you're willing to say, oh, I'm not so horrible. And you sort of let go of the judgment of yourself and just say, oh, well, if I can see that in them, then maybe I am being that in myself. So I just kind of offer that idea. Does anybody else feel that looking out is easier than looking in? Anyone else experience that? I see Marilyn nodding. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It is easier to see qualities in other people, to look into yourself. Although I have, over the last month, established some things that I know I need to change about the way I think. I'm thinking. So that's helped me.
Can you give us
And
a couple of examples? What do you mean?
Let's see. Where would you have me go? And I've put, on reflection, I can see that there are a lot of places I avoid through fear. For example, driving in places on my own that I don't know well. Rather than do it, I just don't do it.
Ah.
In trains on my own, I don't do it because I'm too fearful. So I've got bits of challenges in various respects.
You are so not alone with that.
Yeah.
There are people even within this group who could sort of nod with you and say, I can relate to that. I can relate to that just from yesterday. We took the boat to a different island, and it was like, I don't know where the harbor entrance is. I don't know where I saw the buoy. So I was, driving, and it was like, okay, I'm going to be brave, and I'm just going to keep going. And then once looking from a distance was like, I have no idea where on the coast I'm supposed to go. And then I sort of figured out from the chart, and then when I got closer, because I kept going, then I started to see more clearly how I go and then how to get into the channel. And so as I kept going, I was given the information I needed to see, and all the fear left because I could see clearly. Well, the same happens metaphysically, doesn't it? Like when we take the step of trust and we just go forward, then it is revealed to us as we go. Oh, because we get what we need when we need it, not necessarily when we want it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like taking that step of courage. There may be someone in this group who could share a recent experience where they did take that step of courage and they found, oh, it actually went better than I thought it was going to. Anyone want to share that experience of late? I'm thinking of someone in particular.
I know you are. Shut up. That's not fair. You're not supposed to divulge personal.
I didn't say any names. I left it up to you.
So Lisa knows that for me, driving on the California freeways has been increasingly unappealing to me. And some of the drivers in Silicon Valley are just, excuse the expression, maniacs. So the other day I was going to a sculpting class at my teacher's studio, but it's 40 miles over a coastal range. And it's really a daunting road. And my office used to be over there, so I used to go over all the time. But I just normally I wouldn't go unless a friend would drive. So I just made the decision, I'm doing this. And I let Lisa know in the morning I was going to drive. And I had the most freeing, calm, no fear drive over the hill. So I really felt the power of reaching out and asking for help. So Lisa knows that. Thank her for that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that, Betsy, because it took Betsy deciding, you know what, I'm going to go forward. And then what she needed to go forward was a little bit of support, and she was willing to reach out for help. And then she had an experience that then confirms that when we lean on God and seek truth righteously, he directs our path and he governs our path and we feel comforted on the path. Like all the good stuff goes with that. But taking that first initial step was up to Betsy to say yes to the class and to say yes to, I'm going to drive over the hill on the freeway. It's like those are big steps and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this kind of wrap up meeting, is because we get to acknowledge those little baby steps that feel really big in the moment. Because when we look back on it, we go, well, that's not such a big deal. But at the moment, it's a huge deal. To overcome the fear in the moment is a big win. And that's something that we get to recognize and applaud and support each other in and say, okay, I see you. I see that you faced a fear. I see that you conquered that, because we are, as the Bible says, conquerors. We get to conquer fear. So it is really recognizing those moments within us where we are turning to God, turning to that divine support, whether that's through a practitioner or just through prayer of your own, doesn't matter, but turning to God and knowing that you are going to be supported by the divine. You're going to get the little angel messages that keep you calm and listening and guided. Anyone else want to share a win? Go ahead, Desiree.
I wouldn't say it's a win. It'll end up being a win. We're going on a 58-foot narrowboat, and Lee's done all the driving up to now, and now I feel I need to do the driving and go into the locks and things like that. And I'm thinking, what can go wrong? We're only going about a mile, maybe 2 miles an hour. And I just find the whole thing very daunting. But I mean, the worst I can do is drive into the side of the canal, which is, I'm in a steel boat. It's not like much is going to happen. But yeah, it's a leap of faith that I'm going to have to take.
Now, here's the question you asked. What could go wrong? What if there's a different question you can ask? What would that be?
Yeah, what can go right? Mm.
Oh yeah, what could go right? And you couldn't be in a safer scenario. Like there's a foot on either side of you, or how much space between the edge of the boat and the edge of the canal? A couple of feet, 3 feet on either side? 6 feet on either side?
No, it could be 10 or 12 feet on either side.
Oh, so you got plenty of space.
Yes, I know. And there's other boats coming.
You're not bumping into the walls, and it's like you can't go anywhere else. It's not like you can do a U-turn. So
no.
It's like, as far as like the human scenario of what could go wrong, virtually nothing can go wrong, even humanly. But if we ask the question, what can go right, then all sorts of things open up in thought. What could go right in the scenario? You could express a sense of confidence. You tell me, what could go right?
That I don't crash into the lock.
That you don't crash into the lock. That everything is fine. That you manage. You figure out how to steer and you manage it. You've seen Lee do it for a whole week, 10 days. So now you get to do it. You could feel calm and at peace and at the helm. You'll have practiced a lot before you get to the lock. That's not the first thing you're doing, right? So you'll feel, by the time you get to the lock, you'll feel very confident. It's like, I got this. I got this because I'm expressing God. And I'm expressing that peace of understanding. From Betsy Warren to everyone, so good to see you all. And Angel too. Yeah, Angel, you came in a few minutes late, so I just want to say nice to see you. We have several kind of paths of practice people. So I want to just divert. Desiree, thank you for that. I think asking the different question gives us a different answer and gets us to think differently about it. So Angel, when we started, we were just talking about how has the last 30 days of kind of implementing this daily practice, has it shifted for you anything in your life? Do you feel like it has given you a little extra boost or inspiration? Like, what has your experience been with this?
Well, I'm going to be very honest. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm going to be very honest with you. It has
glad.
been challenging, and it's funny because the Bible lesson from last week,
Yes,
I was reading this on page 76, page 422, and paragraph 5 of Science and Health. It says, if the reader of this book observes a great stir throughout his whole system, and certain moral and physical symptoms seem aggravated, these indications are favorable. Continue to read, and the book will become the physician, allaying the tremor which truth often brings to error when destroying it.
yes,
This is specifically what is happening to me during the last 30 days. Um, I've been doing the exercises and all that, but now I'm experiencing some health challenges, and job-wise, my job now is in jeopardy. So, with that being said, this paragraph is telling me don't give up, but is steering this praying every week and trying to meditate, and is steering, that part of me that seems to me like it's a new beginning, but now I can say that I'm in the eye of the storm, if that makes sense.
yes. And I'm
So
so glad you
personally,
brought this
that's
up.
why I experiencing during this month of June. And again, I'm not giving up, but something is steering that is like, okay, something needs to change or something. I don't know. I cannot pinpoint right now what it is, but it's happening.
That's good. Do you feel do you feel that it is good or does it scare you?
Well, if I'm honest with you, I'm I don't know about you guys, but I'm always afraid about expecting the unexpected, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm open and receptive to whatever has to be done or changed, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, let me try to get that inner strength in order for me to, whatever is happening again, to face it. And then, for that, whatever needs to be changed. Make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that, and thank you for sharing that because I don't
Thank
think you're alone in that feeling where, and a lot of times when people come into this Choice Matters community, which is kind of that deeper dive group from the Morning Metaphys family, there are people that sort of dive a little deeper. And there is something that we talk about when people first join. It's like, don't be alarmed if things start to feel. I always kind of liken it to the lava lamp, in a lava
you.
lamp where you're just kind of, you're a blob sort of floating.
Yes.
A lot of times we feel a little untethered when we dive deeper spiritually because we are untethering the material attachments, comforts, standards. We are sort of unplugging from those. So it can, to the mortal senses and to the ego, the false ego, it can feel really uncomfortable. And it can feel very kind of, I'm not really sure where I'm anchored anymore. It is a challenge not to sort of regrasp what we're used to because it's familiar, not necessarily the right thing, but it's a familiar limitation, as it were. So the challenge is to not regrab the material limitation and to stay open to grasping the spirit, not the material, grasping the spiritual, grasping more for, and I don't, grasping sounds a little bit like we're grasping, but it is holding to the spiritual reality rather than grabbing onto that familiar material limitation. And that takes practice. And that's why a daily spiritual practice really is that it's practicing leaning on God for everything, leaning on the spiritual reality, opening our eyes to what's the reality here that opposes the material, that really confirms and affirms God's control of all good, and that that is available to me. And I don't need to fear that I'm going to lose something by letting go of the material encumbrances, limitations. So resist the temptation to re-grab the material limit and train yourself essentially to yield to the all of God good. And that does take practice. And sometimes it's messy. And that's okay because you are supported on the journey. Very definitely.
I,
Go ahead.
Thank you.
I will I talk?
Yes, go ahead.
I have a slightly different situation. I've been a road cyclist for about 20 years, something like this, and it's getting increasingly difficult. I've been pushed off the road once, and it's as though there's increased aggression on the road, and I guess a bit like our Silicon Valley experience. And I've had to make sure that I do metaphysical preparation for going out on the road, because I go out fairly early with a group. But I'm still working through that because, cars traveling at we're in a metric system. So let's say greater than 60 miles an hour, and you're traveling along at a quarter of that.
Right.
It's just, I guess it's got to be a work in progress. And I really think I'm in the middle of working in that at the moment.
So when you do your metaphysical prayer, your metaphysical preparation to go out on the road on your bike, which is very wise. It's wise to be very alert to what are the suggestions I'm dealing with here. When I put myself in this circumstance, what am I dealing with? What are the suggestions that would come at me? And it's very wise to handle that and handle the suggestions ahead of time. So what does that prayer look like for you? And is that something that your daily practice is giving you the fuel that you need to put into that prayer, your preparation and going out into your day?
Yeah, it's giving me more regularity, I guess, and more discipline.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to just kind of go out there.
Yep.
And that's getting harder and harder just to do and to feel okay. So preparation is increasingly necessary for me.
Yeah, and I think you're not alone. Again, it's like that's why a group like this is really important because we recognize, oh, I can see myself in you. I can see my own preparation. And there's a very little example. I used to ride a Vespa to work every day, and I'd commute on the Vespa, and it was a very windy road in LA, and go along Mulholland Drive. It wasn't that long a commute; it was like 6 miles, but it could be very treacherous. And there were days when I would do I did a checklist with myself before I would get on the Vespa. And there were some days when I didn't feel mentally strong. I just felt a little bit off balance for whatever reason, and I wouldn't ride my Vespa because I knew that what I needed to be on that Vespa and to be safe was I needed to be mentally sharp. So I wasn't sort of kidding myself and doing sort of a blind prayer and going, oh no, I'm fine. If I wasn't feeling that strength and that confidence in God, I wouldn't get on the bike. I'd drive the car because we don't ever want to put ourselves in a position of sort of being cavalier about If we have an intuition to do the work, to do the preparation metaphysically, we don't want to be cavalier about that and put ourselves into a position of danger. That's obviously that's never what we're talking about here. So listening to those angel thoughts and knowing it's like Ken is being very wise. He's saying, you know what, I increasingly need to do more and more preparation as I go out because we want to be clear about our own level of comfort and do whatever it takes to get to that level of comfort, that level of clarity, which is really what it is. Am I clear about who God is? Have I looked up? Am I clear? Have I looked in? Do I know myself? Going back to what Barbara was saying, do I really know myself as the reflection of God and know my security, know my safety, know that I am protected and guided? Then, when I look out, the expression of me out in these circumstances in the world is going to carry that forward. So it's an awareness that is very important. It's not just, oh, pray for your day and go along and have a better day. It's like it's all nicey nice. This is practical, important, practical steps we can take that actually better our life. And we get to be in that experience of greater safety, alignment, strength, confidence, consistency, all the things. So thank you, Ken. I think that's a really important piece for everybody to hear in whatever form that comes in your life. And just really take that in because it's important. If you're prompted to pray more or to think more deeply, doesn't necessarily mean more time, to really kind of consider a spiritual idea more deeply and to really take it in and to put it in terms of who you are, not just read a nice passage, put it in the first person. Put yourself in the middle of the truth and make sure that you really feel the strength of the truth. So important.
Thank you.
Shirley, go ahead.
Okay, couple things. I have really stepped it up a bit with my morning practice. I always read or listen to the lesson, and I like the Daily Lift by Evan Mellenbacher. I like to listen to that. I like Cedar Camp's explanation of the lesson, so I do that. Not every day, Cedar Camp's, but I have those routines. And what I've added to it since we started this was adding 7 minutes of, which you've said for years, but added 7 minutes of sitting quietly and then kind of mentally going through the list of the B, the no, the C. And each time I'm stopped on something. And I've kept a little journal as what came to me, but I don't get it done every day, but it always stops on one of those. And it's one day it was pretty loud. It's like, what do you want to say? And it said, say it to air. You're a liar and you're not going to get away with this. And you're not real, and you're not going to stop me from moving. And it was one of those, I've heard you say pretty aggressively, F you, mortal mind. That's kind of with some of that. And I'm like, every day it stops me on one of those words and gives me a direction. So I've really, really enjoyed that. I don't necessarily go through the whole diagram the other day of looking in, looking up, looking out. But wherever it directs me is where I go. And something listening to you guys talk that's come to me is I've gotten pretty lackadaisical. My husband does most of the driving and he does a lot for me. And so I'm like, well, I probably can't do that again. And I've been getting all these wonderful memories of these things I did when our sons were small. They were pretty involved in sports, and my younger son, who's only a year younger than his older brother, but we drove across several states to meet up and watch his brother wrestle and never thought a thing about it. I mean, I just did it. And one time we were at state wrestling tournament, and we got a terrible snowstorm. And since I was a school district employee, they asked me if I would drive our van across town to get the boys to a motel because we couldn't drive home. Did it without thinking. And so these memories are coming, which have really given me a lot of encouragement. If you did it then, of course you can do it now. Now, am I going to put myself in danger? Probably not. But to get rid of the lie of aging and that kind of thing, not being as alert, not going to go there.
Good.
If I did it 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I don't even know what it's been. Why couldn't I do it now, especially if it was important and I needed to do it. So I've loved those memories that have, and I know those have to be God sent, because I don't sit and think, oh, what was it like back in high school when the boys were in high school? They just come to me. So I'm very grateful for just the memories that come that say, yes, you can do it.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. So anyway,
Beautiful.
I love I really do. I mean, I'm not going to pretend I was just every day did this, but when I did do it and I wrote it down, I love what came to me.
Thank you, Shirley. That's really helpful. And that you're not judging yourself for not being like, I didn't do it every day. It's like, you didn't do it every day. Okay. But when you did do it, it was really helpful. It's like, just take the wins. Don't condemn yourself for not doing something. Be grateful for what you did do and take the win of that. And like when Ken is going out to it, when he did do preparation before he went out riding with the group, he felt more secure. He felt safer. He was more alert to things. Well, I'm putting words in your mouth, Ken, but I'm assuming that as a result of preparing metaphysically, we do feel stronger. We do feel more consistent. Yeah. Yeah. But thank you, Shirley, for sharing that.
Can I mention something?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. Just to add to what Shirley just said, I don't know if you remember that at the beginning of this month, I mentioned to you, to the group, that one of my challenges was to bite my tongue.
Yeah.
So now every morning when I sit down before I log in and put my headset on and all that, I inhale, exhale. And by the way, thank you for recommending other books, because now I'm looking for those books that you recommended at the beginning of the month to help me, to assist me besides science and health. But now, before I log in and I start taking calls, I feel a little bit more calm. I'm noticing that now I shut up, I listen, I let the owners or the customers to vent and all that, and I'm like, okay, I will go with the flow. So that is one of the benefits of doing this challenge series this month, and I'm thankful for that. So really helps me a lot to understand that the best thing at times is your bite your tongue, listen, and sometimes even people say, "I'm sorry, Angie, it wasn't against you. It's not personal. This and that. I'm having a bad day." Blah blah. Like today, I just had a lady that she was like a little bit rough during the conversation, and then at the end, she was like, "I'm so sorry. I'm going through some health challenge in this." And I said, "No, I understand, ma'am. It's okay. I understand. Nothing personal. Blah blah blah." And at the end, we were like good friends, like we know each other for years. I just spoke with her the first time, so I'm also grateful for that. Personality wise, I can say character wise is what I'm meaning. I'm going to get into that point that I just go to the mental level, if you can say it, and more of mine is not so empowering that I'm like, no, I have to react. That is not happening anymore. I mean, not that it's not going to happen, but it's less right now. So I'm thankful for that. That I have to share that.
That is beautiful. And yay. As Betsy's clapping, I'm clapping too. That's beautiful. And everybody can hear this. Notice what Angel said. He may not be doing it perfectly the way he envisions, but it's a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. And that's what we're talking about. It's inch by inch. It's line upon line. It's precept upon precept. It's here a little, there a little. That's the practice. It's like, oh, I'm catching that thought a little more quickly than I used to. I may not catch it every time, but I'm catching it a little bit faster. Then I'm turning it around and I'm seeing through the illusion of it just a little bit more quickly and a little bit better, a little bit more clearly every time. That's what we're talking about. That is the demonstration of progress. That's a huge win. It may feel like little bitty steps. It's huge because that compounds. I was going to say compounds annually, kind of like injure. What if the investment? It is good compounding on good. So bravo, yay, and thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure every single one of you has some experience where you go, oh, you know what? It felt a little easier this time to say no to mortal mind, or I felt a little bit more confident to, like, I love what Shirley said. It's like, you know what? There's a reason why these memories are coming back. Like, I am capable of doing that. And you know, my little sign, it's right there. I am, I can, and I do. It's like I am, I can, and I do. It's all based on God. It's not that I personally can do all of this stuff. When Jesus says, I can of mine own self do nothing, it's like I am, therefore I am. I am that I am. I am as God is. And I can as God does. Because God does, I can. Because God knows, I know. Because God sees, I see. It's like, who would you have me be? What would you have me know? What would you have me see? What would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say and to whom? It's like, okay. It's like that covers, for me, that covers everything. It's like I'm covered. And if I go through that and I really look up to God and say, okay, God, I see you. It's in the lesson this week, the first part of the definition of God that is covering that part. And many of you know that those questions came to me before I recognized it mirrored the definition of God that Mrs. Eddy gives us. It's like that was a download from God. That was an angel thought. And then I went, wait a second. This is exactly the definition of God. The great I am, who would you have me be? The all-knowing, what would you have me know? The all-seeing, what would you have me see? The all-acting, what would you have me do? It's like exactly the same. So thank you, God, for giving me that clear message and putting it in a form that I can use day in and day out. And did anybody experience habit stacking in their daily practice? Has anybody incorporated any kind of habit stacking in their practice? You guys know what I'm asking?
What's habit stacking?
So it's like if I know I walk into my office every morning before Morning Metaphys, that I stack on top of going through the door, I'm always going to let the Christ go before me before I enter the room. So I'm stacking that spiritual thought and awareness on top of the physical thing that I'm doing anyway. Or every time I brush my teeth, what am I brushing away? I'm brushing away any mortal sense of self, like little things that are brushing my hair or, so that there's something that you do all the time. And then you stack on top of that a spiritual habit, essentially, that it turns into a metaphysical practice instead of just a physical activity. So that's just one example of it.
Can I share one?
Yeah.
Myself, I have now the habit of, I just made this little mantra that says, because of Science and Health and other publications, before I go to bed or while I'm falling to sleep, I'm telling myself, I am a reflection of the perfection of God. Very simple, but that reminds me little by little who I really am. So when I wake up or before I go to bed or during the day, I say that little mantra. I'm a reflection of the perfection of God. And that helps me a lot. Simple words, plain words, not a big thing, but at least it helps me to go back and center myself and say, wait a minute, let me try to do this from a better point of view, from a spiritual or mental point of view, instead of just reacting the mortal mind. So that helps me a lot. It sounds stupid, but it's something that
Doesn't sound
personally helped
stupid.
me.
Did you see all the hearts going by? I hope you saw all the hearts from people. It's not stupid at all. That's exactly what we need. And everyone gets to just sort of listen in, tune into your own heart and see what is that one little phrase that would give me a sense of security and a sense of uplift. The I am loved, I am safe, God is here, all is well, came out of me wanting to feel that security and that safety and knowing it for the children and the family and everybody that I love and family here. It's like, I am loved, I am safe, God is here, all is well. It's not complicated, it's not involved, it's not, I am the reflection of the perfection of God. And it's wonderful that it rhymes. It's easier to remember. It's fabulous. Love it. Val, what were you going to say? Just putting you on the spot.
Couldn't find the unmute. I love the questions. Who would you have me be, etc. I'm fortunate that I don't need to get out of bed for any special reasons, so I stay there until I gain some clarity and pray about things. And that is the biggest thing I've done. I did start an exercise regime, but that sort of didn't go terribly well. I still try and do the Tai Chi every day. But I'm not very good in the rain. I'm working on that one. Yeah, no, I just love the prayer in the morning. That's the extra bit that I have stuck with.
Good. Good. Thank you. Arthur, I want to check in with you too. You're one that's kind of a little bit newer to the community, so I wanted to check in. How was this month for you? Did you find that it was supportive? And kind of getting into the daily practice again was a good thing for you?
Absolutely. Coming to Morning Metaphys is, yeah, I definitely felt the difference of being on a month and then off a month, and like how much better I felt being here. I did fill this out.
Nice.
But only today did I really I neglect to check in with it. But it's good. I wrote good stuff down. I wrote a bunch of stuff today. I don't know where to start. What I do notice is when I am unwilling, I'm noticing two areas where I can be unwilling or unready or slow to be in that God Christ mindset. I can feel my human. There was a situation where my roommate's family was all staying here, and when I'm like annoyed, but the practice part of me wants to see the good in everyone, see the good in the moment. But when I can feel my human resistance to and being sort of self-righteous, and one other place I've noticed it. I'm going to ask if you guys have ever done this. It can be around being being sick and or thinking. Well, I'm just going to use words. The words I know, like calling in sick for work. Let's say I can tell. It's just kind of funny when I can't do both. I can't be like use Christian Science to know that the truth about or the error in sickness and want to stay home at the same time. Having a hard time articulating it.
Yeah,
but I can catch myself when I'm going, oh, I'm trying to like work both sides of both sides of this thing, and it's just a good thing to be aware of, and that's goodness to see that. Oh, my human part is being, I don't know, dishonest or
it is I don't
or just like, you know what I mean? So because we want to rest, I want to rest in bed, at times. I think it sounds like you're getting the gist of what I'm saying.
No, I understand. I understand.
The human wants to rest in bed, does not want to spring forth,
So here's
with
a permission for you, because I understand that completely. I would feel really guilty calling in sick. It's like I just couldn't do it. I don't want to admit that I'm sick and then pray about being clear about not being sick. It's like, I can't fight against myself. So you get to give yourself permission to have like a spiritual retreat day. And whatever work calls it, they can call it whatever they want. I need to spend the day at home today, or like whatever. I need to call in sick, like whatever. Just know that that's just the translation that they need to hear. But you know what you're claiming. I just need some time alone with God today. I need to dive deeper in my metaphysics today, or I need to just have that sense of feeling loved and safe, and I need to curl up in my bed. You have permission to do that. You don't need the excuse of sickness.
Thank you. No, I'm just
pause
playing
and
around.
take a break, right? You don't need to use sickness as the excuse to do that. It's like, I don't need a reason to do it. I get to do that just because that's what I need. And I don't have to be sick to claim it. Because sometimes we end up sort of diving into sickness so that we can have a day off. Like we
Or
don't.
we're thinking of like a little bit sick. Or
Yeah.
I'm a little bit sick.
Yeah.
Am I sick enough not to go? You know,
Right.
like it's,
Right.
but that's all.
That's all that head dancing. Like you don't need to even bother with that. Just
Right.
claim it. Just say, you know what? I need a day to be close to God today, and I get to do that
Yeah.
because
And one more
because you're worth
resistance.
it. Like you
Okay.
are that loved and that valuable. You're worth it. You get to claim your worth and your value and the importance of your relationship with God as the most important thing. And if you need a day to do that, great. Take the day.
I also struggle with procrastination, so I'll just say this now. So I will tend to want to stay in, I feel like I can hide behind prayer and meditation.
Yep.
Like it takes me a long, because it's really not quantity, right? It's quality. But I can really feel like I'm not ready to act until I've prayed enough, meditated enough,
Yeah.
read enough. I can find myself procrastinating in that. So I think it was yesterday you were talking a lot about discipline and like discipline, good idea. Those are all from God.
Yep.
God is not lazy. I don't know. There's a lot there.
Yep.
But also in that yellow book by Mary Baker Eddy, the little, what's the line about gently
Emerge
learning?
gently from matter into
Yeah, that's really helpful to me because I always want to get the whole thing all at once, and
yeah, and then
and
beat
it's
yourself
okay
up if you don't do
to
it.
be where you are
Yes,
in that day.
yes, and
Period.
we embrace the mess. That sometimes it looks messy. That's okay. And Angel was agreeing with you that that's him too. So instead of labeling it as procrastination, which I know it feels that way sometimes, I think there's a tendency for the ego, the false ego, to want to hide. So that place of I don't want, the ego doesn't want to be exposed, right? That false ego doesn't want to be exposed. All the failures and the faults and the things we're doing wrong. It's like I don't want to, the ego doesn't want that exposed. So it's going to try to hide. Well, what does Mrs. Eddy say about exposing the error? It's like 2/3 destroyed and the last third pierces itself. It's like, so we get to claim that place of strength through prayer and sort of consistency in our daily practice. We get to claim that place of strength where we say, I can call out mortal mind without calling out myself. Like I'm not condemning myself when I'm calling out an up until now bad habit of mortal mind or false ego. I'm calling it out because that's material suggestion. That's mortal mind. It's not me. So it's
That's
making that
interesting.
separation to say, well, yeah, mortal mind wants to hide, but that's not me procrastinating. That's just mortal mind trying to save itself. It's like you get to expose it, rip off that band-aid of mortal mind, rip off the mask, and go, yeah, I see you, mortal mind. You're not me anymore. I'm not claiming that as me. So I'm not procrastinating. I'm recognizing that mortal mind wants to hide, wants to save itself, and I'm not going to support that anymore. So, and whatever that looks like in practice, it can look like little bits at a time. It's not like doing it all at once. It's like, you know what? I'm going to catch it just a little bit more quickly and recognize that's the mortal sense of things trying to convince me that that's me.
And when I see that, I have to be willing to let that go.
Yeah.
I was just trying to say that I can tell at times when I'm clinging to a mortal sense of things because I don't know, it's comfortable or there's some
Familiar.
attachment there.
It's familiar. You're used to it. And a lot of times with a problem, we're used to that problem. We know how we manage it.
Yeah, because it's like, what if I was free and out of pain and trouble and like, then what would I like? Then that would I
would
have a
require
lot more
something of you.
responsibility to do.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like
Exactly.
there's
Then
a
it's like,
payoff in being small sometimes.
yes.
I'm just admitting it. Like
No. It's like you are so on point about this. And that is when we finally get to the place where we go, okay, no excuses. Like I get to be the reflection of God. And I'm not letting mortal mind make excuses for me not being that. And I'm not going to agree with mortal mind's reasons for me hiding or what feels like procrastinating, which is just mortal mind trying to hide. It's like, no, I get to face it and then recognize that, okay, that now frees me to be more freely expressed as the fullness of me, as God's child. And that feels like, I don't know if I can do that. Like that puts a lot of demands on me. I don't know if I can handle that. It's like, well, then what do I do with that? Lean on God. What does that look like? Take a breath, pause, and just listen. Don't fill it with a bunch of reasoning and blah, blah, blah. It's just like, just pause for a second. Go, okay, God, I trust that you have given me the strength to face whatever I need to face today. And I am going to just take a breath and I'm going to listen for your guidance. I may not understand the next step, but I'm going all the way back to where we started with what Marilyn shared. I'm just going to take a step forward on that path that feels a little scary because it's unknown to me at the moment. Well, the only way I'm going to get to know that path is to walk on it. And this sounds counterintuitive to the be, do, have, but it's in the doing that we find our path. It's like in taking action, in taking those little baby steps on the path of spirit, we find more of the path of spirit revealed to us. So we got to commit to that. And that's part of the daily practice. It's like I commit to this every day, whether I do 30 seconds of it, 5 seconds of it, 3 hours of it, doesn't really matter. It is, I commit to being in the presence of the divine for whatever it takes for me to feel at peace and guided and loved and centered in the divinity that is my true nature. And then I'm going to go out into the day. Okay. We have just a few minutes left. So I'm
just going to hop in real quick. I always love it when Karen, I'm surprised she didn't jump in here. Yeah. Karen says she takes a prayer day. Yeah, and she works for a school district, and I don't know if their district's like ours, but they don't question why you take off, so that makes a difference. But I love it when Karen takes a prayer day. She said, I'm just taking the day off from school today to pray. There she is. Let her talk.
Absolutely, because I had to go through that because they call it a sick day, and you don't say I'm having a day to, I don't know. So long story short, yes, I decided I'm firmly going to say, yes, I am taking a sick day through their words, but for me, it's a prayer day. So, and it helps me because I do. Sometimes I feel guilty, like I actually could go into work, but no, I need this prayer day. And they don't care, and we don't. It's part of our wonderfully. I'm grateful that we have it. We don't even talk to people to get the day. We just put it on the computer, and so I'm very blessed.
That's fabulous. I love the translation. Thank you for that. And sometimes it's just that little. It's like getting the gift that Karen just gave us. It's that little re-identification that then, for like what Arthur was sharing, it just releases the guilt. It releases that sense of debating, am I sick enough or should I? Or it's like, no, I get to claim a prayer day. Of course I do. Because I'm loved that much. It comes down to, do I feel worthy of God's love? And that's everything about the daily practice. Do I feel worthy of investing my time, my money, my effort, my thought, my heart in me? Am I worth putting the time in to feel the presence of God in the morning? And that's important. So before we sort of wrap up, I want to just
Lisa, yeah,
Go
this
ahead.
is Betsy. I'm just wondering if everybody who wants to share has had a chance to share. And I know we're running out of time because sometimes we go so fast.
I know. So we haven't heard from Don, or go ahead. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah.
Greg had his hand up first. So we'll just let go ahead, Greg.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
I just want to say one thing that's been helpful for me. I started with the fifth day of the month, I think, was every morning writing a thank you note to God. And I try to include one quality of each attribute, for mind, soul, spirit, and so forth. And I got 25 of these cards now for the last 25 days. And it's been fun. I look forward to it out in the morning, and just all the things I can think of thanking, just like starting out, thank you for this awesome day, and then just go from there. But anyway, I just want to let you know that through this last month, I was inspired to do this.
That is awesome. And I love that practice. It's something that we have done in the community at different times. It's what is also really cool is putting those on a ring, like punch a hole corner, put them on a ring so that you can just flip through it.
Right.
So thank you for sharing that, Greg. That's awesome.
Well, thank you for motivating me to do it.
Yeah, very cool. Don, go ahead. I see you're unmuted.
I had a great month, and it's getting greater all the time.
Yay.
I started out, I would get up 30 minutes early, drive my dog to a place that's so quiet and peaceful, trees, birds, and just sit and think, this is great, no wonder. And thank God. And at some point during the month, I wrote an ad for my book, just try and sell some copies. And I did the best I mortally could. And I was kind of proud of it, and I wanted to show it around. This morning, we had some people come to give us financial advice. 3 people. And at one point, I just said, take a look at this. Would you look at this book if you saw this ad? They all said no. And I was thinking about that as this, whatever this is, started. And it came to me that I'm going to find the answer in this, whatever this is, workshop. And it came to me out of something that we said. It suddenly came to me the right ad, so different from what I originally composed. I'm thankful.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
Every day I've seen some kind of progress, which I never had before.
Thank you, Don. That's wonderful. That's really wonderful. And that's what this is all about. That really is what this is all about. So, Pat, did you want to share something?
Yeah, I haven't really been able to do this month because I've been traveling the whole time, and it's been a very busy time. But I've just tried to hold to the idea that God's in charge of everything. And one example is, the first night when I came back to London, I stayed at the same hotel with 2 of my friends who were going on another tour, and walked them to where their bus was and everything. And it turned out it's the same company that the tour that I'm on right now is. So I knew right where to go to start the tour. And then that was on the west side of London. And then I went to the east side of London where I had a vacation rental by owner for 3 days. And somewhere before I came back to London, I realized, I don't have a place to stay that last night. And I might have too much luggage because they said if it's over 44 pounds, they could say, you can't come on this trip. And I hadn't been able to get an answer about where I could store luggage or whatever. And so I wrote to the guys who own the VRBO and said, could I come back for one? Could I store some things at your apartment? And could I come back the last day and reclaim them and stay overnight that last night before I leave? And they said, oh, sure. And I interpret that as meaning everything's fine. We'll work out the details later. Well, then when I got there, I asked them about it and they said, oh, well, you didn't book it in the next day and we only reserved it for one day. And I'm going, oh, great. So I was tempted to be mad. And I said, well, you know what? I now know where I need to be and where the tour is going to end. So I called the hotel that I'd stayed at that first night and they had a room. So that's where I'm going at the end of this tour. And I knew that my friend had taken some things next door to store before her trip. So I knew where that was. So I was able to take those over when I went over for a show the day before. So when I moved over to start my tour, I didn't have so much luggage to deal with.
Sounds like
So
you were
it all
guided
worked.
very specifically, like every little detail
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
that you were guided. And sometimes when we have a lot of logistics to take care of, it's good to pause and listen and really tune in to that guidance, that divine guidance, those spiritual intuitions. I don't mean to cut you off, but we do need to wrap up.
Yeah.
So I am going to, just so you know, there's going to be a special offer for those who did prayer and practice, not prayer and practice, the paths of practice, because that's another thing we have. There's going to be a special offer for you, which is kind of a bundled thing. So I'm going to send an email of this recording to everyone who was in paths of practice. And if you want to continue with Morning Metaphys, or if you want to dive into community, there are going to be some really amazing bonuses. So I want you to just be aware of it so you can look at it in the email. I'm doing a live retreat on Labor Day weekend. So if you buy the annual of This Choice Matters community, you're going to get a ticket to that, which is worth, at this point, $947. Tomorrow that price goes up. So it's like a really big deal. So just know that there are going to be some really awesome bonuses if you decide to invest in yourself, which is really what this is, investing in your own spiritual growth and saying, yep, this is a priority for me, and I'm going to continue on this path, and I'm going to put God at the center of my life on a very deep level. And whether you do it here in this community or you do it on your own or another community, doesn't really matter. The whole point of this is to recognize the power of practice, of daily practice, and committing to that so that you are consistent. And what do you need to make you consistent in that practice? Do you need to be in a community of like-minded people? Do you need to be in a place that is confirming and affirming of your practice? If that's what you need, then take the note for yourself and commit to that and do it for you. So whatever that looks like for you, that's what I'm taking a stand for. So to encourage you, I'm going to put in the email, because I need to move on to, I have another meeting right now, but I'll just look for the email if you're interested in continuing and look at all the options and make sure that you're clear about what they are. And just give me a call or a text if you have any questions about it. Okay. Lots of love, everybody.
Thank you very much.
All enjoyed this month. I'm
Thank you,
so proud of
Lisa.
everybody who hung in there and did it. So thank you all for being here today as well. And for those of you on the recording, thank you for joining us. Sorry I didn't see you in person. All right.
Thank you, Angel, for that mantra.
Lots of love, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
My pleasure.